I'm Lean Six Sigma Black Belt certified trainer. I'm uh, I have done my MBA in business administration, and I'm in teaching since last 15 years. I cover all the courses related to lean manufacturing, fashion courses, merchandising, IE, global sourcing, global immersion, lean value stream mapping, and so on and so forth. So today we are here to discuss how we can implement JIT, just in time concept, in our work and in our businesses. So just in time is, what is just in time? Just in time is producing only what is needed, when is needed, not early, not late, not less, not less than, or not more than. So that's what JIT concept is, right? So JIT manufacturing is a philosophy involving integration set of procedure activities designed to achieve a volume of production using minimal inventory. GIT is a highly coordinated processing system in lean manufacturing, uh, which goods, any inventory must move when it's needed, and uh, and the services perform just as they needed, right? uh, how it work? The ultimate factory start from the supplier until the customer demand, until the sales. So the just in time, actually, we need to consider the all stakeholders. Start from who is my supplier, when we are going to receive fabric or raw material, who is going to make it. It will be in one assembly, or we will have many sub assembly like batch system. And then we are going to store, or we are not going to store, no inventory, and then it's reached to the sales or buyer. So basically it's follow the customer demand, right? How much customer need, we are going to meet only that quantity. We are going to produce only that quantity which actual customer need. What is the history of JIT? It is evolved and developed in Japan after the Second World War as a result of their diminishing market share in the auto industry. So basically, during the Second World War, after the bombing, as we know, from the at the Hiroshima, so the all the businesses have been destroyed. So now they need to recover from that, and they come up with the many lean concept, and the JIT, just in time, was one of them. It was founded by the Taichi Ohno, the vice president of Toyota. So that time they were not making the automobile. Basically, they were running the handlooms, making the fabric or yarn. So from that, they moved to the second, which is uh, the automobile sector, and they implemented this concept in Toyota plant during 1950s, and slowly it moves on. And during 1970, it became a established concept and become a part of just-in-time system in lean manufacturing. Who followed after that? After they started, it became also adopted by General Electricals uh, during 1980s. Some companies also referred JIT with different names. Some says it is a Toyota system. In IBM, it says continuous flow manufacturing. General Electric is a management by site, and the HP computer making company, it says stockless production of repetitive manufacturing system. So these are the different followers which have been adopted by different companies. In GIT, there are seven kind of waste. First is waste of overproduction. There are many acronyms for this, like we call TIMOOD, TIMWOOD, seven waste, or some also called downtime, DOWNTIME, downtime. So basically both are same. Like T for TIMOODs, in T is transportation. So this all I I is for inventory, M for motion, W for waiting, O for overproduction, and O next O is for overprocessing, and the last D is for defect. So TIMWOOD, Tim Wood. So here in the slide you can see waste of overproduction first, second waste of waiting, waste of transportation, and waste of underutilized skill or employee, waste of inventory, waste of motion, and waste of making defective product. So in this all kind of waste, can you can you tell me which waste is more important to tackle? Which kind of waste we are going to more focus on if that comes in our process? So the waste, defective waste. Defective is a kind of waste uh, which creates all other issues. If you have defect in the process, it will create more transportation. If you have defect in the process, you will have more inventory stuck, because the process where you find the defect, behind all the processes will create an inventory or overproduction, right? So the waste is the mother of all waste. If our process have defect, we need to make sure and ensure that we tackle the defect on top priority. Principles of JIT in production. There are many principles in JIT in production. The first is total quality management. Total quality management, it is focused on quality. It seeks long-term commitment towards the better quality by reducing the cost of poor quality, COPQ. You might have heard in the lean manufacturing. So the QQM target the cost of poor quality, COPQ. Quality must be also higher priority, because as we discussed, it creates all kind of waste, and it's all kind of waste, all kind of process need more money to stop it. So the total quality management, the priority task is how we can minimize the waste. Then the two systems for the process flow comes in. We call push system and pull system inside the product management. Pull system follows made to order. When customer orders something, then we start making. Like when we go to restaurant, we see the menu and we order the food. So this is example of pull system. Now push system is made to inventory. We have a store and we forecasted how much this season we are going to sell. Based on that, we create the product and keep ready for the customer. This is kind of push system. So as you see in the picture in the slide, raw material supplier is pushing to the final assembly to reach to customer. And pull system, there is the trigger is the customer. Customer says something, then it's work backward. So this is the push and pull system. In push system, the information flow, the green line, is moving towards raw material to the final assembly or to the customer. But in pull system, the information systems move from customer toward the raw material. So it's a quite opposite both the systems inside the product management, and we need to use based on what is our business model. Next in the JIT principles is supplier management. Anything if you want to improve in the whole process system, you need to consider all the stakeholders involved in your product. Start from supplier who is supplying you raw material until it's reached to the next process, and the last is reached to the consumer, customer, right? So you see in this slide there are many dots here, green dots like 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are refer to this supplier. So in Toyota model, all the suppliers have been invited to open their workshops inside the main assembly area. So this is a classic example of supplier management. Supplier come to your premises and whatever your demands are, you just place to them and they will make inside your premises or nearby your factory, and then they supply to you. So everything are within the reach, more control in your process. So that the supplier management, another part of GIT. The next is inventory management, the next JIT principle. In inventory management, the main goal is to zero inventory. How we can eliminate all the inventory and run with the one piece flow. If we need inventory, we can also create that we call buffer inventory and safety stocks. So you can see in this slide, there is a water inventory and there is a traditional system of running the inventory. So in traditional system, you need a long setup, you need uh, more material supervision, and if you keep something for longer time, you need to have the more supervision, right? So these are the difference between the traditional way of handling inventory and the inventory management under the JIT concept. So JIT say inventory is the evil because the more inventory you will have, the more cost, more cash flow is stuck in your process, and you need more supervisors to manage those inventory. So the goal of the JIT principle under inventory management should be zero inventory. Next is JIT system, view inventory as a waste and work to lower inventory level to expose and correct the problems uh, direct at the bottom point. So you sit with the management and see how much is the ideal inventory you want to keep on, right? Lower the inventory level is relatively easy to do. However, the problem that arise must be corrected because the low inventory also bring you higher risk. If you have any defect in the problem, if you don't have inventory, the whole line will jeopardize. So we need to focus on how much ideal inventory we need to keep on. mostly in sewing production. At least half an hour of inventory between each sewing machines are mandatory. You need to have that. Next is human resource management inside the uh, JIT principle. How you can manage your human resource in order to function your process smoothly. So, as we remember our seven waste or eight waste, the last type of waste is unutilized skill. So, unutilized skill tackled by the human resource management under the JIT system. So, how we can bring it? We need to have the organizational wide involvement. Each of the supervisor, manager, CEO, everyone must be involved in that process to retain the manpower. You need to have the continuous motivation and leadership training to them. You must continuously involve in the problem solving, and you need to also understand the diversification of your employee, from what culture they are coming, right? How they can involve their culture with the company culture, how they can align their goal with the company goal, and how the management and the employee can work together. Because whatever the whatever the employee think, whatever the employee suggestions are, if it's not reached to the top management, it's create uh, a, a gap of the information. So we need to have the right connection between management and employee in terms of empowerment of the human resource. So what is the JIT manufacturing building block? The first is you need to have the ultimate goal, a balanced, smooth flow. You must also set up your lead times correctly based on the customer demand. If any problems comes, your system must be flexible, and it's run with the minimum inventory in terms of if any defects come, you can eliminate it. And the last bottom is run through the continuous improvement Kaizen concept. What are the requirements of JIT? We must respond highly responsible for the customer requirement, very sensitive to the customer demand. We need to integrate all our processes and make sure the employee participation is in each process. And other requirement of the JIT is you must have the company wise involvement. The inventory should be on the lower level. You can establish the continuous flow mindset in the organization. And of course, you need to move from push system to pull system, because the pull information, the trigger is the customer demand. So if you have customer demand, you make something, that is high probability you will have less inventory and high sale. You must also have the defect prevention program like traffic light system or Kanban card in order to have the less defect in your process, right? You must have the smaller setup time, work in the small batches. So these are the requirement of JIT. What are the obstacles for implementing JIT in the process flow, right? So the management commitment. Sometimes management is not committed. That the biggest obstacles in JIT and lean culture. Second is workers are not cooperating. Many times you have seen that even the managers say that, okay, I know this, I tried before, It's never work, right? So in JIT, we need to think what too important is more important than how to improve. What to improve is more important than how to improve. So that's bring the JIT in conversation in our process flow. Next is uh, next is convert suppliers to JIT. All our suppliers must be meet the JIT just in time concept. Like we have discussed, the supplier must be either nearby or they set the process for the faster lead time. Right. Then the last obstacle supplier may also resist. So you need to look after their overall process and contribute how they can come as a just in time concept. Next is what are the advantages if we apply just in time concept in our process or in our manufacturing. First is you will get the high quality mistake proof process. So the process will be defect free. Second is the flexibility. Today you run a style number ABC, tomorrow you can run BCD. So the changeover time will be faster, right? Next is how you can reduce the indirect labor. So the direct labor will have the more participation than the indirect labor. Next is the less waste. The advantage of JIT will have the minimize the type of waste in the process, all type of waste, transportation waste, waiting waste, inventory waste, right? Overproduction, over processing, defects, and unutilized. All kind of waste. If we learn and apply the JIT concept, it will reduce drastically in our process. Also, other advantage of JIT is we will have the low inventory, which means the low warehouse cost, and the biggest advantage is the synchronization between the production scheduling and the real work hour. So what you plan, you are going to achieve. You plan 1000 production pieces in one day. If we apply the JIT, it's high probability we are going to achieve it. Next is after advantage, there are some disadvantages as well. First is the application is time consuming. You need to have the more training for the worker, more training for the management, and it's a step by step process. So you can't do in one day. You need to have the 3 to 6 month time frame to apply this. Next is no spare production to meet an unexpected order. If some new orders come or something wrong happen in the process, there will be a possibility of the next process idling. They will have no work. Next is the supplier problem. If production do not reach on time, you could not able to deliver to the buyer or customer. So that these are the disadvantages. There is very low probability of uh, getting defects in the JIT system. If you get the defect, you get the surprises, you will have the immediate effect. You can't able to deliver to your customer. So the risk factors are very high. JIT in the good sectors like computer or automobile, how they achieve this? They leveraged JIT principle to make it manufacturing a success. We have many examples like General Motors, Motorola, Toyota, Dell, HP. These companies, IBM, they have applied this concept and now they are the market leaders in their chosen product. So how you can leverage their supplier to achieve JIT goal, these are also very important. How you can provide exceptionally short setup times to their customer. Right? Suppliers carry inventory instead of carrying it themselves. Because the supplier is the integral part of the JIT systems, they also responsible for meeting these JIT in goods. And there is dependency of SIPOC supplier and customer, supplier, manufacturer, and customer all are integrated together in JIT system. Right? There is seamless system that allow to transmit its components as is required, and also willingness of supplier to keep inventory on hand. Right? It's a direct model system of manufacturing and delivering to the customer. JIT in service sector. So we are moving from product to service sector like pizza company, right? Or McDonald's. So you might see the pizza company when you order, then it's trigger to the chef to cook. If you don't order, they normally don't cook. So this is a classic example of JIT system. You order by app today at certain time, 6 o'clock in the evening. The ones you order, they get the information that I have this order, and they start working on your order. So the information move from the customer. So this is classic example in the service sector of JIT. Because McDonald does not begin cooking until the customer place the order, and the major benefit are better food at lower cost, and also most of the time is defect free, right? And waste is reduced along with an improvised taste. If you customer order something, you cook that time, it's more delicious than you cook in advance and keep for them. So these all are the concept of JIT in lean manufacturing. So the just in time is only one tool in lean manufacturing. There are many tools, right? Like the Kaizen concept, continuous improvement. There are other tools like FMEA, mode effect analysis, and there is also SciPac and DMIAC in Six Sigma, DMIAC, right? DMIAC tool or DMATV tool. There is Kanban system, there is supermarket, there is Zidoka, right? Error proofing. So these are many tools I continuously discuss every Sunday. So keep joining, keep following me up on the LinkedIn and YouTube. And thank you very much for joining my conversation. I'm open for any question. If you would like to ask, please comment on your comment box. Yes, SIPOC is a SIPOC tool in uh, the Six Sigma. So SIPOC means its acronym. SIPOC stands for supplier, inputs, process, outputs, and customer. So these are the supplier acronyms, right? You will see in the comment box. SIPOC is an acronym that stands for supplier, input, process, output, and customer. So all the key indicators we need to mindful. For supplier, what we need to take care. For inputs, what we need to take care. What are the process I'm going to define, which are really need for that process to make a product or deliver a service, and what are the output indicators, and the last is the customer demand. So this is SIPOC. I will put in the comment box. So this is the SIPOC tool. Any other questions if you have? Thanks for asking, Mr. Sokpal. If any more questions, I'm going to, you can put in the comment box. So, Mr. Ashok Pal, and from my YouTube, Miss Mike Kim, how you feel this session? Is this session informative? Gives me a thumbs. So this is a short presentation about JIT in our lean culture, JIT in our business process, and why and how we should apply. Right? We have discussed advantages, disadvantages. So the main benefit of JIT is how we can reduce the inventory management. Second is product management, production management. So these are the some of the big benefits of just in time. So thank you very much for joining in this session. See you next Sunday. Keep sharing this video. Thank you very much. So this is Chandan signing off. Catch you on the next Sunday.